game. So, guys, let's go into our predictions, for this weekend. Obviously, there are no game week 7, and so we're straight into game week 8. And of course, there are some games that are absolutely fascinating. So, we're gonna look at a couple of games, but I'm just gonna read out the games that we've got, for the weekend. So we've got Aston Villa, and there's actually a game tomorrow, Aston Villa Southampton, and there's also Nottingham Forest, who are also playing Fulham tomorrow. And then on Saturday, you've got the early kickoff with Wolves, playing Man City, hosting Man City. And then you've got Newcastle playing host to Bournemouth. So that should be another fascinating game. Tottenham are at home to Leicester City, who are really struggling at the bottom of the Premier League. And then Arsenal travel to Brentford, short trip to Brentford, to play there. And then, we end, the weekend games with Everton, playing West Ham. So let's start, with Nottingham Forest playing Fulham. Now, I don't think anyone would have expected Fulham to have the start that they've had, so far this season. They were unbeaten until they actually played Arsenal. And, Mitrovic has been, simply something short of a revelation in terms of a proper centre forward and what he's been doing in the Premier League. Now they take on, a team, the Nottingham Forest. I think basically they had the most transfer, in this summer transfer window. They literally had, 22 players, come into the squad, which is, something that is, frankly unheard of. How do you see this game going? So I'm going to start with you, FaZe. Nottingham Forest are at home, to Fulham, and Fulham have had, some very good results. Do you believe that Fulham will continue to have good results, as they go to Nottingham Forest? So let me know your thoughts and what your prediction for that game.
Yeah, I think Fulham will continue to have good results against Nottingham Forest. Forest have been giving they started well. I think apart from the first match they lost to Newcastle, they picked up 4 points. I think the second and third matches, but they've been given a reality check. With the last 3 matches, they lost consecutively. So that was like welcome to Premiership. When we were drummed by the big boys 6-0. I think City beat them 6-0, and they lost to Bournemouth. The last match they lost 3-2 to Bournemouth. I think it became clear to them that it is not about the signings, it's about you need to get your assets together as fast as possible, because the reality now is that I think they're on the 19th position, if I'm not mistaken, despite their investments. 21, did you say 20? I thought it was 21, which is actually an English record in terms of transfers in a particular season. So that's an English record for you. With such investment and such quality they brought in, which is not bad, they should be doing better than what they can't be losing to Bournemouth. Such matches should be won, and that is where they should be picking their points. It's understandable when you lose to the likes of City, and even when you lose to City, we need to see competition. Just like what Newcastle is doing. Newcastle invested, this way, and you could see Newcastle. For you to beat Newcastle, you must work for it. You must put in the work, and that is what gradually I need to start seeing. Forest. I know it's early days. I know they just assembled those guys, and they need to at this point start putting a team together. But against Fulham, who has been flying with Mitrovic and a whole lot of those guys, the confidence is awesome in Fulham at this point. Marco Silva is really doing a great job. The confidence he has actually built in that team. At this point, they see themselves as, they can actually beat anybody. So they go to you with that confidence that they can win. Both home and away, they feel they can take points from you. And for now, they are sitting, I think, 10th position, if I'm not mistaken, which is good, considering where they're coming from, that they just came in. And for this match, I think Fulham will take it. I see a 2-1 victory for Fulham, sorry.
So, I mean, that's fascinating, and I'm going to come to you, Femi, for your prediction because Fulham have also picked up an old Arsenal player in the form of Willian, and so how are you seeing that game? Who's going to come up and trumps? I mean, Nottingham Forest. I mean, that last game with Bournemouth ended 3-2. So typically, that game could have gone either direction. So do you see Nottingham Forest bouncing back? They're playing at home, to Fulham, or do you see Fulham, taking this game away?
It's a hard one to call. When you talk about Fulham picking up an Arsenal player, of course, they picked up Ben Leno as well, who wasn't particularly happy about the politics he was talking about. And Arteta was not too sure if it was the politics of when he was playing consistently or not. But I'm not sure Willian I mean, with Marco Silva, maybe that Portuguese-Brazilian partnership may work. I'm not too sure. But I wouldn't be in a hurry to buy Willian. But it's still quality anyway. You just never know. For the game, I worry for Forest. The reason I worry for them is right there at the bottom, they've got Leicester, who are capable, if they get their acts together through the manager, of actually riding out of that bottom three. So that they're in 19th is a problem for Forest. Because around them, you've got West Ham, who will also, with David Moyes, definitely ride that storm. You've got Villa, who are going to do well with Gerrard also in that mix. And when you start to look at maybe Everton have a problem, but look at Palace, Wolves, Bournemouth, all the way down up the table. I mean, the problem Forest have is that Bournemouth, who have been promoted, and of course Fulham as well, are way higher, and they're looking more solid. And they had a great chance, Forest, and they threw it away against Bournemouth. For once, I think they might recover and do well against Fulham because now they know they were both promoted. So if it's a Premier League team, you might have a problem. But for a team that you both came up from the Championship, they will know each other very well. So I think they have a prayer here. I don't think they will lose it. I think it might just turn out to be a draw because they need to go back to the drawing boards and start picking up points. So for once, I think it might end up being a 1-1, actually.
So you're going for a 1-1 draw?
For me, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you have, interested me a little bit with your points there, especially the fact that there are two championship teams that are coming back up. So they will have a fair understanding of each other, and there might not be that element of unknown, between the two teams. So I was gonna go for a Nottingham Forest victory, just a very slim victory, a 1-0 victory. Because prior to those games, and of course they had a very difficult game before that against Man City, but prior to those games they were keeping it very close, keeping it tight at the back, so I expect that they're going to return back to that, playing at home, just to get back into that form of not just losing games. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory to Nottingham Forest in that game.
Right.
Guys, let's move to the next game that we're going to look at: Wolves versus Man City. Now, I think everyone is talking about Erling Haaland. What a phenomenal player who's absolutely come into the league, and it just seems like he cannot stop scoring. It doesn't matter how this guy is getting the ball into the back of the net; he just seems to be getting into the back of the net. So we did wonder, whether Aston Villa were going to have a prayer against Man City, and they actually, fared very well, in that game. So this is Wolves. Wolves has traditionally been a very, very difficult team to play against. They're a very stubborn team. They're very resilient. And, so how do you see this shaping up? Femi, I'm going to start with you. Do Wolves, pull up an upset, for a team that, didn't play last weekend, didn't have any European competition, and then Man City played over the week and just barely got over the line in their European League game. So do you actually see Wolves causing an upset in this game?
I'm not sure because rhythm is important in football, and City have been playing games. The weather is still nice in England. It's just the right weather for football. It's usually between 15 and 20 degrees during the evening games. So I think it's just perfect for City. And Haaland can't stop scoring as well. Lewandowski scored what 9 goals in 6 games for Barcelona as well. So very similar in terms of the fact that they both know where the back of the net is. So Wolves, of course, are not going to be. I don't think they will go away easily. But I think City have enough in the tank to win it. Again, Haaland to score for me personally. De Bruyne will be running the show. I'm going to have to give it to City. Sorry, definitely a 3-1 for me.
3-1 victory to City. Face, how do you see this going?
Wolves actually played last in September 3rd. I think their victory against Southampton. Yep. And they've had a whole lot of rest since then. That's like 12 days rest. And City has been very busy, their last comeback against Dortmund in the Champions League, they won 2-1. They expended a whole lot of energy. I know they have a large squad. Femi, I see him nodding. He could easily say, "Come on, guys." He could bring like 5, 6 guys for the bench, and that's a total new team. Yeah, that's the good thing about having a large squad. But Wolves traditionally has always been a kind of stressful team for City. And Wolves is playing at home. At this point, I don't think City will win this game.
Wow, okay.
I don't think City will win this game. Something tells me that they're going to find it very difficult. I think the match will end in a draw, but trust me, the beast Haaland will score, but I think it will end in a score draw. I'm seeing a 2-2 draw in this match.
2-2 draw. Wolves, just like Fulham, added Diego Costa, to their team, in the last couple of days. So we don't know whether he's going to play, how much he is going to be a factor, or if at all he's still the same Diego Costa that actually used to terrorize, Arsenal players.
Well, an old man.
back in the day. I'm gonna go for a City prediction. I think City are just stabilizing themselves and just figuring how to win ugly, how to make sure that they don't lose in games. So while there's a possibility of a draw, but I just think that after Wolves they're playing Manchester United. That's a big game, which they will want to put down a marker, and they will not want to be entering that game, with a defeat on their hands. So I'm going to go with a very close 2-1, victory for City. Right, guys, our final game that we're predicting is the London, well, I don't know whether you can really call it a London derby between Brentford and Arsenal. Both teams are in London anyway, so you can kind of say a London derby. So Arsenal are traveling to Brentford to take on Brentford. Now, Ivan Toney has been mentioned, as actually he's been named in the latest, England squad, which you can't argue with that, because he's probably the most informed English striker, right now in the Premier League. So Brentford is not going to be easy. So, Faze, how do you see this game going? With Brentford create a problem for Arsenal coming out of a defeat from Manchester United, or is Arsenal going to bounce back away from home to Brentford?
I think Arsenal is going to bounce back. Clearly, the match against Man U it still leaves a whole lot of sour taste. anytime that the match was painful that we lost that match. I think they will learn from those mistakes, because clearly Brentford will not play the same way. Brentford is going to go direct as usual. And the only problem at this point is, are we a way to deal with their physicality? which, Tony will bring, and a whole lot of Bemo and the rest. So if we can deal with that, I think we will always dictate the play. We will always spread the games and do all the playing. So the question now is, are we going to take our chances? Gabriel Jesus needs to really start talking in those goals. We can't be wasteful, and that was what did us against Man. You had all the chances, we had all this time to, pushing those balls into the nets. So we can't afford to be wasteful when we have this kind of opportunity. Because the Brentford, I know, and their game plan, they will go direct. They want to take the set pieces. They want the corners, and every opportunity they have, they want to, see if they can get in those goals and lock up. So our game plan at this point is those chances, which we definitely call Odegaard and the Rice, we must convert those chances. We cannot afford to be wasteful when we have those chances. I see a tight, it's going to be tight. I see a situation where Brentford want to go very physical. They feel that's the only way they can play us. But I think we've gradually started coping with physicalities also. We've not shown that much weaknesses against teams at this point in time. And I see us running away with this. It's going to be 2-1 victory for us now.
2-1 to victory Arsenal. Femi, Brentford are actually unbeaten at home this season. And if you remember their last game, they put 5 pass leads, with Ivan Toney scoring a hat-trick. And you could say that Arsenal have had a chance to get some players returning. There's stories that, Partey, should be ready to go in that game. So Arsenal should have a complement of players to choose from. So, how do you see, this game? Where do you think this game is going to be won or lost? In that match, Brentford versus Arsenal.
Brentford are a team that do not stop. They don't know how to stop. So, I guess it's a matter of the defense / the midfield doing the job. Are we going to score goals? Yes, we're capable of scoring goals, but can we keep them out at the back? That's the problem. So this is definitely not going to be a 0-0, 100%. Like you said, Everton have survived there. Everton drew 1-1 the last time out. So it's not impossible, but I'm not sure Brentford are a team to play a 0-0. And we're not a 0-0 team as well. We're full of energy, full of industry. So this is going to be a tough one. I just hope that we have enough at the back to keep Tony and the guys out. And if we don't have enough, I hope we now have enough, like the whole Real Madrid team that just would let you score 2 or 3, but they will outscore you with another 4 or 5. So I remember those Galacticos back in the day. So hopefully we can do that at Brentford Community Stadium and probably nick it 2-1 or a 3-2, just like Faye said. I hope we can win that one because it's important for us to actually win. They've not lost at home, but it's high time. And again, you've got to remember last season was the first game of the season for us. We lost 2-0. There's no better opportunity than to go back to that same stadium and put things right. Just don't do a Man United and lose 4-0. If we have to remind United fans, but I mean, very humbly, Arsenal they have a lot to prove in this one. So, and they've not played over the Thursday as well. So they're not playing tonight. So they have no excuses. So game on.
Yeah, so I mean, you could say that, this is a game that Arsenal needs to start to prove what their title credentials look like if they are really going for the title. But even want to be serious about top 4. I think they say it's how you respond to defeats. That's what counts.
Yes.
This is going to be a difficult game. Let's not mince words about it. Brentford are going to be very difficult to play against. And Arsenal have some scars, from last season where they went to this game and were absolutely bullied, by the players on show, especially Ivan Toney and Boemo actually bullied Arsenal in that game. But you could almost say that Arsenal went into that game with a different team. We really didn't have a center forward in that game, and I guess you can kind of go through the numbers, and you probably want to believe that Arsenal are well prepared, to be able to take on a Brentford team now. How we've played Fulham, which is a very physical team, and we've been able to come through that. Also played, Crystal Palace, and also played Aston Villa. So I think that should have prepared Arsenal, for what to expect against Brentford. I think for me, Arsenal just needs to take their chances when they come, because Brentford will get chances, and they have a striker who would be excited with the call up, to the England team, and so will want to prove, that he deserves to be among the names, not just for this particular team, but actually going into the World Cup. So Partey coming back, I think will give that stability into the midfield, because I think we really lost that edge in the midfield. We're so outnumbered, a lot of that. And, our transitions were not happening, as quickly as they used to, when Partey was there. So I'm going to go for a very low scoring. I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory to Arsenal. Just because I feel that Brentford is going to keep it very, very tight, be difficult to play against. And this game might be settled by a penalty. It can be one of those sort of games. So going to go for a 1-0 to Arsenal.